Sounds pretty good, I thought. Okay, next, our keynote speaker today is a gentleman that is now in the House of Representatives, and he will be our next United States Senator, Todd Akin.
Thank you all. Thanks for coming out, and what a beautiful sunny Saturday we've got. I appreciate your stopping over and giving me a chance to say hello. There are some new faces here, I suspect, so I'm going to just loop back a little bit with a quick introduction, and then we're going to be around just for a little while if you want to ask some questions if I didn't hit something you want to know about. Just a fast intro, I'm an engineer by training. I served as an Army combat engineer officer. I worked for IBM, where I met my wife of 37 years, and she's all the way back, straight in front of me, back there with her hand up. And Lord's blessed us with 6 kids, 8 grandchildren. 3 of the boys went Naval Academy, 3 in the Marine Corps, 1 in the Mediterranean right now, 1 down in, near San Diego. I also have, my parents are both alive. Dad served with Patton in World War II. And we've got them trained. They cook us dinner on Sunday night, so I feel like a blessed guy. Now, I think that all of this election stuff we're dealing with, it's important to us, I think, because we want a bright and prosperous hope for our future and for all of our children and grandchildren. I think that's what we're interested in this next election. But you know, a bright and prosperous hope has to be built on right choices and wise decisions. And the last 4 years, that's not what we've seen. You remember, I'm going to do a little teeny bit of history here. Claire McCaskill introduced Barack Obama to the state of Missouri. And she has been a strong right hand and has voted with him 98% of the time. But you notice something about both of them, and that is neither one want to talk about their record. And if I were them, I wouldn't want to talk about my record either. If you think a little bit about it, let's see, they gave us this Obamacare, which we had a chance to vote on, and the common sense of the state of Missouri said we don't want the efficiency of the federal government and the compassion of the IRS running our health care system. 71% of Missouri's voters said no. Yeah. And she didn't get that concept of no, she voted for it anyway. And then you got some of the other things. You know, you might have heard a little talk about people having trouble finding jobs. Well, what's their record in terms of employment? They passed a $787 billion supposedly stimulus bill, which, by the way, we just found out day before yesterday included $20 million going to their family business. And the promise was we're going to have 5 or 6% unemployment. And what have we had for 43 months? Employment over 8 or over. That goes back historically. The last time we had that was the Great Depression. And interestingly enough, what did they do in the Great Depression? Came up with a big stimulus bill, just like we didn't learn from history at all. So much for that promise. And then you got things like their energy policy, if you call it a policy. Remember, we're stopping drilling. We're picking winners and losers like Solyndra, and we don't want to build the Keystone Pipeline because that's just jobs, and you know, we want to be dependent on Middle Eastern oil. I don't think that makes a lot of sense, but they're going to shut down the Keystone Pipeline, want to shut down coal. Claire McCaskill voted EPA authority to regulate carbon so you can shut the coal industry down. That's where we got our low cost of electricity in Missouri. And then you, of course, got gasoline prices that doubled. Now think about this logically. America has more resources in coal and natural gas and oil than almost any country in the world. Why are we exporting energy? Isn't that where we really want to go with this thing? Now look, I could run on, and I don't want to take a lot of your time here, but I want to just make the point that on the record, Obama and Claire McCaskill's record is a disaster, just judging it by their own words of what they've promised. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is that their solution to every problem is more big, government spending and more big government red tape and regulation. That's the way they think you can solve everything. And that's why none of it works. They've got it just wrong. The solution is less big government. Big government is the problem. And that's what we've got to get away from. And they just don't get that. And if you give them 4 more years, they're going to do more of the same. Now, I don't like just somebody who's just being critical without saying, well, what's the right solution? And the solution, I bet you every one of you, because you're here, I bet you know the solution. It's something that either they didn't learn or they forgot, and that is, what is the secret of America's greatness? How is it that 4% of the world population could have developed the technology and the medicine and all the things that have spread all around the world because of what Americans have done? What was the secret of that? And I would suggest to you, it's the visionary idea that there is a creator that intended every one of you to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We put first of all, we start with the idea of the creator, you see. And that means that God intended you to have life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Not the Supreme Court, not the President, not the Congress. It starts with Him. And then that freedom that He blesses us with goes to you, and the government is supposed to be your servant. That's the way it's supposed to work. Of course, we put life first, don't we? Because if you're dead, nothing else makes a lot of difference, so we put life first. And on that subject, what do you think about the leadership of a country that's going to leave 4 people in a firefight and give them absolutely no support for hour after hour? What do you think about what happened in Libya? I'll tell you what, I am ripped about that. This idea about our lives being important is something that is central to who America is. And if we ever give up the idea that we're going to just abandon people for political expedients that are out there trying to serve our country, that's just not acceptable. Have you been watching Fox? Have you seen some of that? Yeah. You seen it on any other television system? No. Yeah. So anyway, that's part of life. Liberty, of course, you can speak your opinion. You also get to vote. I hope you're going to do that. And then, of course, liberty means you can own property. It means you can keep the things you earn. That's what America's based on. And then the last thing, the beautiful part, is the pursuit of happiness. The idea that every single one of you is made by your Creator, and you have all these ideas of stuff you want to do. And one of the things Americans are great at doing is get some crazy idea in their heart, they want to go do this, and everybody tells them, no, you can't do it, and they go and do it anyway. You don't want to tell Americans that you can't do something and it won't work, because we're in the habit of proving people wrong when they say that. Do you remember that old guy Thomas Edison? He built him 100 light bulbs, and people said to him, aren't you discouraged? None of them work. He goes, no, I'm not discouraged at all. I now know 100 ways not to make a light bulb. That's kind of a little bit who we are, isn't it, as Americans? People want to tell you it won't work and you can't do it, and we prove them wrong every time. And if we don't, we just keep on trying. And so that's what's made this country great. It's not big government. Big government didn't invent all this stuff, do all this stuff. It's just a bunch of people that are free and that understand the government is supposed to be the servant and not bossing everybody around and making their business close up because of too much taxes and red tape. Now, we got election coming up, and I hope you're all fired up to go out and get the thing done. From my sense about where things are going, I think we're going to have a very big win here in about a week and a half. And I think we're going to be celebrating. And I think we're going to be sending a little bit of a message to some people that the people in America are smart enough to make their own decisions up, and we're not wanting to be part of any particular big party boss kind of thing. We want somebody that just plain as a servant of the people does the right thing and gets the government, the dickens out of the way so we can be about the business of freedom in this country. And I think that in a single word is what it's all about. I think it's about the kind of freedom that God has blessed us with and that we've run with all these years. And I think it's about time we turn that thing back and start getting a whole lot more freedom and a whole lot less Washington, D.C. God bless you all. Thanks so much for coming out.
That was our next senator of Missouri,
Yeah.
Todd Akin.